So a couple of months ago, I was invited by my friend Roger of Roger's Base to go to this big dinner with a bunch of YouTube One Piece creators called The Reverie. Aptly named. And there I met a guy named Parv who was super cool, told me about his channel, Parvision, and we got to chatting. He invited me onto his podcast that's on his YouTube channel, and he does a lot of theory crafting around the One Piece world, which I know is huge. I'm really just a beginner to the world of like One Piece theories, so I told him I'd do a reaction to one of his videos. So this is that video. Enjoy. Oh, also, I'm the current dub voice of Scratchmanapoo. All right, to the video. All right.
So I know of the Straw Hats, Usopp is the character that I think attracts a lot of disdain for being the weakest Straw Hat. Even post time skip, though getting physically stronger and gaining more utility and power, to some people Usopp feels like a non-factor and is getting hard carried by his crew. He has had his moments, but everyone wanted him to become this OP strong.
Here is my prediction of what we're going to talk about is that when you go back and watch when he's talking to Kaya about his stories, he talks about things like being on these giant fish, and then in Wano we actually get these giant fish. No poop, but you know what I mean?
Usopp was sort of abandoned by his father Yasopp, who was in Shanks' crew.
Dang, no Chopper? No Chopper getting shot at by all those people, getting his ass beat because he looks like a giant man with a funny big old reindeer man face.
Apparently was given permission by Usopp's mom to leave them to fulfill his dream to be a pirate.
But I get it, the other ones are better examples.
So he wasn't that bad, I guess, but I mean, he visited Luffy but never visited Usopp. But that being said, Usopp's mom was sick the entire time we saw her, and Kid Usopp coped by lying to her, saying that Yasopp and the pirates returned to take them both, and so that they wouldn't be lonely. His mom passed away, and Usopp continued the lie, which evolved into scaring the town into thinking pirates were coming. But then his lie was answered when Luffy and his crew finally
Oh, you know what's funny? The pirates do actually come. So like if we're gonna say that Usopp has some kind of observational haki that we see in Katakuri, right? That we see Luffy develop, and that he can, I mean, he is like the one who can see the farthest, so maybe that's gonna tie into like he has observational haki that allows him to see further into the future than other people. Like he's lying, but his lies turn out to be true, which is interesting. Maybe
showed
he's
up. See,
not
this
aware
is the premise
he
of
has
Usopp, lying, or maybe more accurately
observational
manifesting. It's no secret by now that Usopp's words have powers. What starts out as a lie ends up as a truth. Usopp's entire character design is—
What is this? This is the kind of stuff that I guess when you're combing through everything, you're looking for every single Blue's Clue in the whole pack, in the whole house, you know what I mean? It's something like words on a man's underpants turn into like highly credible evidence.
His name Uso, which is the Japanese word for lie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then the story of how we met Usopp replicates the boy who cried wolf, a fable attributed to Aesop, a Greek fabulist and storyteller. The moral in the Greek version of the story depicts how even if a liar tells the truth, no one will believe them, which we see a few times with Usopp.
I never knew that Aesop was the one who wrote that book. See, this is what I love about Oda. He just takes from all of these brilliant things and kind of throws little hints and throws little clues to stuff that have to do with the real world. I think that's brilliant.
Nose resembles Pinocchio, a boy who is known to lie, which increases his nose length. Also, his long nose can connect him to Tengus. There's a specific story that relates to this power-up video, but I'll share the details of that story a little bit later. The second point I want to highlight is Aesop proclaims that the finest thing imaginable is the tongue.
What does that mean? The finest thing imaginable is the tongue?
Without the tongue, nothing gets done, neither giving, nor receiving, nor buying. By means of the tongue, states are reformed and ordinance and laws laid down. If then, all life is ordered by the tongue. Nothing is greater than the tongue.
Okay, so what the hell, where the hell are we going with this? I mean, Usopp with his tongue does do the thing in Dressrosa. This is what I love about Parv. He sprinkles in these little weirdo facts that you're like, where is this man going? Like, he's told me like 12 facts about Aesop, an Aesop quote, the boy who cried wolf. Like, I'm getting all these little Tengu stuff. How does this all connect? What's the point of this?
Despite being a coward, Usopp manages to speak in a motivating way and encourages positivity.
Yes,
He's
he
able
does.
to empower through speech, and though he has been noted to be extremely depressed and negative about himself so many times, he has said that he will become a great warrior of the sea, and
I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying this Parvision video. Hey, give him a subscribe and hit subscribe for me. Back to the video.
King of Snipers, which I think will come in the Elbaf arc, which if you haven't noticed yet, Elbaf spells fable backwards, which again ties back into
I did not ever realize that. Wait a second. Romance Dawn? Nuad Ir... No, that's nothing. That's...
Like, he wants to be the brave warrior of the sea, but all throughout One Piece, he has been a tactical fighter. But in some pivotal fights, he has taken out enemies in close combat. Realization with a pirate crew or
that
any
was a
group
good
of-
one. Oh man, yeah, when he has the Skypea thing. Oh.
And Usopp provides pretty strong support. In terms of support, he is kind of an all-around support that can protect, damage, provide utility, and communicate. On top of that, he's pretty smart. He has created weapons.
He's like the Mario in Mario Kart.
Post time skip, we got this more muscular Usopp that is more durable, has a lot more tools in his belt.
Yeah, I know. You're like, whoa, he's all buff now.
But yes, I think Usopp might get armament, observation, and conquerors. We've already
Okay. Conquerors we've seen in some way in Dressrosa when they show his picture and the girl faints. I mean,
But to be honest, the one I want to talk about is Conqueror's haki, because a lot of the theory depends on Usopp getting conquerors. Then on top of that, there's an interesting list of lies that Usopp has told that have come true, and he has said some big things in the past. The biggest example was how he said he'd have 8,000 warriors, and after Dressrosa, we see him become God Usopp and more or less commanding the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Sounds very Conqueror-like.
I didn't even think about that. That is pretty nuts.
Also, there are two examples in the manga that feel similar to Conqueror's haki, and until I find examples to counter it, I'm gonna be kinda convinced that this is some form of Conqueror's haki. The most recent example was when Usopp knocked out Sugar twice. This example isn't too convincing on its own
Theory
because Usopp
genius,
scared her and
Brent
knocked her out.
Mukai.
But in the manga, the significant part is that the character starts foaming at the mouth, which is how Conqueror's haki is signified in One Piece. A clear distinction is made for that when Caesar the Clown makes it look like he knocks out his foes with Conqueror's haki, but it's actually because he took out the oxygen, causing people to faint. The people around think it's Conqueror's haki, but in the manga you can tell because no one is foaming at the mouth.
That is such a cool little detail. See, he's just putting these little things together. He catches all the little things, starts putting them together.
Until I can find examples of other characters passing out from fear in the manga and seeing if Oda had them foaming at the mouth, I think these are times when Usopp leaked Conqueror's haki. The Usopp hammering Perona scene actually reminded me of the Zoro scene where he cuts Monet or the Yakuza in Wano, which I talk about in the Zoro video as Soul.
Dude, that's one of my favorites. Doesn't kill her. He's straight up. That's such a good Zoro moment. How do you not love Zoro?
It's odd but similar, and both
Back
relate
to
to some
Usopp.
sort of spirit manipulation. I think Usopp is going to get some sort of presence erasing haki or invisibility haki. This haki is something that he could extend to his projectiles and his own body. Essentially, he'd be erasing his presence, actually similar to Kuroko in Kuroko no Basket, or Boruto's Lightning Rasengan. When you think about a power-up for a tactical sniper, this would be an insane power-up. I was thinking about this and thought it was crazy because in that same spread where Zoro is depicted as a tiger, Usopp is depicted as a chameleon. Essentially, he'd become a man who could lie about himself or trick others' sensory perception of him. Top of that, a popular Tengu story is called the Tengu's Magic Cloak.
He brought it back! He brought back the Tengu! Let's see it!
Basically a guy who proclaims that with his bamboo, he can see distant and magnificent places, which is a lie. This Tengu who overhears this is overcome with curiosity and offers to trade his magic straw cloak for the bamboo tube. The human successfully tricks the Tengu and now obtains a powerful cloak that turns him invisible. I feel like this story already fits Usopp's personality amongst the various stories about Tengus, and it can manifest itself that Usopp is able to trick his surroundings and gain the same invisibility power, kind of like a chameleon. When I think of Usopp in the last few arcs, it kind of...
What is... That is a chameleon. He got the curvy little tails. Look at that.
And there's the clear devil fruit, which alludes to the possibility that invisibility is naturally attainable for some individuals. A preliminary hypothesis I have for this power is that it's attainable by mixing conquerors and emotional observation haki. By mixing these hakis, I think it may be possible to create illusions, and in Usopp's case, manifest his lies in real time. On top of this, in the near future, Usopp is going to learn how Sanji's raid suit works and get an idea of how it's able to achieve invisibility. So it might be possible that Usopp won't even need haki to turn invisible, but he may be able to still fulfill the Tengu lore and gain invisibility.
This is like a year or so ago, so this is before we all knew about Sanji and his
Invisibility
suit.
through Sanji's raid suit science. Luffy versus Rob Lucci. I have seen a lot of people's takes on this fight, and some people say that it didn't make sense for Luffy to randomly recover and be able to tank 3 more hits from Lucci, then just wipe him with jet Gatling. A possible explanation for how Luffy was able to do this was Usopp.
Usopp calls out to him.
Usopp commands Luffy to stand up, to stop acting like a dying man, saying that this isn't the afterlife, and told them that this wasn't the end of their journey. The other time that it felt like Usopp buffed himself is when he sniped Sugar from across the map. I don't think we've ever seen someone get an awakening for haki that was
so
this
freaking
powerful
good.
and potent. Like, Enel had something similar, but definitely had years of experience and still couldn't see people, he could only sense them. Then Usopp, without falter, said, "I'm a sniper, and I shoot down the enemy by surprise to protect my people." And because of his self-manifestation, he gained observation haki, though I don't think we've ever seen him use this haki outside of Dressrosa. But even more than that, I think it could be argued that this was the most powerful example of base observation haki displayed in the entire show, given that he was able to see that far away.
That moment though, they built it up so perfectly with how much of a badass Sugar was, and then for Usopp to be the one to clutch it through for the whole team, and hardly anybody was even aware what was going on. That was pretty sweet. That was a sweet moment, and he hyped himself up, and it was like, yeah, okay, cool. He's talking a little trash before he does the deed, but like the way that Parv is being like, yeah, he's lying to himself so that he can gain a power up. I just love this, man. I gotta keep reminding myself to talk because I'm just getting involved and I'm just watching this. And this is Parv's, like, this was like a year, 2 years ago. I mean, dude, his theories now are like hour-long theories, so I don't want to react to the whole thing of it. But man, I love this shit.
But before I bring that up, I think it makes sense to connect Usopp to one more mythological legend.
Please.
Loki. The power described in Hardcore Leveling Warrior is theorized to be a precursor to
Loki.
transcendent power based off of Loki, the god of mischief and lies. I think there are a lot of parallels to Loki and Usopp, one being that he's become a god himself in his own right to many during the Dressrosa arc. But it's not a secret that Elbaf pulls a lot of inspiration from Norse mythology, and one of the few people we know on Elbaf is Prince Loki. It would be interesting if Usopp and Chopper have a similar relationship in that way. But anyways, I have a feeling that a tale where Usopp mirrors Loki will play out on Elbaf, and through this tale, Usopp will begin to awaken some of the true powers locked inside of him. Some parallel stories have already happened. For example, Loki was known to trick dwarves in creating Mjolnir. While the hammer wasn't created there, Usopp did trick dwarves in Dressrosa. I wanted to create a second Usopp power video after seeing some more of Usopp, and especially because Elbaf is probably Usopp's arc, considering how closely tied he has been to Giants throughout the entire story. Like, imagine
we don't really have like an Usopp arc. Like Water 7, the first half, because I consider Water 7 and Enies Lobby like one arc basically. But Water, like, that was a great arc, dude. But like, we also introduced Frankie. Like, have we really had like an Usopp arc? Because now they're bringing all of these arcs back and showcasing a lot of people. Like,
So as an example, if Usopp announced he would destroy a mountain, either he would command his shot to do that and trick even the mountain itself that it would be destroyed, or fool the spectators into thinking and seeing that he actually destroyed the mountain.
That's such a broken power that you could be like, oh, you didn't hear? You're dead. You're a ghost. Spirit just comes out of their body. Just like, what? I didn't know. Skip it up and down up.
The last thing I want to address is that Oda has said that no matter who joins, he always wants Usopp to be the weakest. I think this theory satisfies that requirement because none of these abilities makes Usopp any stronger or durable.
Yeah.
It increases his survivability and amplifies his personality.
And power to be a good
sniper.
sniper.
Oda said this because amongst the crew, Usopp is the one that is closest to strength to a regular human. I think that the real strength of humans does not lie in our physicality. I think the most powerful tool that humans have is the tongue. The tongue has started wars, ended wars, and has the power to mobilize people to act. Just like what Aesop said in that excerpt I mentioned before. At the end of the day, people have said that Usopp is sort of role-less in the crew, but I think
he brought it back. This man brought it back. God, I would love if Parv wrote like his own show, because he would pepper it with so many cool details, and he just like, I don't know, the way he brought that back in after I had already forgotten it was brilliant. Like, oh yeah, Usopp's tongue, whatever. And now it's like, yeah, he's talking, he can lie and make people believe it. Like, that was brilliantly done,
Usopp
dude.
may fulfill one of the most vital roles for any legend, and that's the one who spreads the stories. Even when you think of Roger, what made him a legend wasn't just his magnificent actions, it was also the stories told about him and how they spread throughout the world. Anyways, that's all for now. I'll definitely be making follow-up videos on Usopp soon. Thank you for connecting with me, and I hope you're looking forward to the next Parvision.
You're welcome, and I am. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to watch me react to some more One Piece content, click at the video. It's somewhere around here. All right, peace. Skip it up and that up.